This video was a Patreon request from Oscar NJ Boy. Welcome back to the Many Toys of, the show in which we go over the action figure history of various Transformers characters. And if I thought Sea Spray was a joke of a recommend, what do you think I feel about Octopunch? Of course, big thank you to Oscar NJ Boy for giving me this recommendation, but it's Octopunch, man! What is there to say about him? He's a pretender. He hangs out with Bludgeon and Stranglehold. His pretender shell is actually pretty sick. I love the old-timey scuba diver look. And of course, I like that he's a tiny crab inside. Other than that, there's not much to talk about character-wise, or fiction-wise, or toy-wise. Octopunch is a true Z-lister of Transformers. He's cool, he's obscure, he's also more than a bit of a glup shitto. But hey, this glup shitto shot God in the face that one time, so that's gotta count for something. Octopunch's original toy came out in 1989 as one of the Pretenders, and I might catch some flack for this. I think he's a really impressive, well-done toy. The outer shell looks great. I always say that the Pretenders look like something out of Masters of the Universe, but I mean it with a great deal of affection. This is a sick-looking action figure. You could put Octopunch up against any Power Ranger, Ninja Turtle, or superhero you have, and it kind of looks perfectly at home with them. It's just a weird, mutated freak of a creature. Hell, put Scooby-Doo up against Octopunch, it kind of works visually. But even better than that outer shell is the inner robot. Yes, when you look at him, the color scheme's just a little bit drab. The burgundy and the yellow, it's okay, but not very poppy. But then, of course, he transforms into the crab. The transformation's actually really well done for a G1 style figure, and really brings Beast Wars Razorclaw to mind. I love Razorclaw, and by extension, I'm really impressed with this inner robot. As one final cherry on top, when you have the outer shell, you can take off that scuba diver helmet, and he has a disgusting mutant head underneath. The Pretenders get a bad rap. I'll always stick by them. They are good toys with a solid idea. And I'd honestly say Octopunch might have the most playability out of any of them. Even though Bludgeon's more famous, Bludgeon's also a lot more limited. Here, Octopunch has a solid inner robot that has a totally unique alt mode, and they have some cool playability with the shell, more so than even the more famous Pretenders. Despite all the praise I could give Octopunch, it took over 20 years for him to get a second toy, and that came in the form of the BotCon Shattered Glass Octopunch. This is a very slight remold of the Hunt for the Decepticons Sea Spray, which, by the way, is already a great mold. I would argue the best boat mode that we've ever had in Transformers, with a very solid-looking robot mode. The thing is, as much as I like these colors, especially the seafoam green, it doesn't really invoke Octopunch. Octopunch is more of an orangey color, and even though there's a little hint of yellow in the forearms, most of these colors are new, somewhat alien. And I'm sure that you could always say it's because it's a Shattered Glass Octopunch, to which I'd counter, this is the time in which if timelines couldn't make an exact repaint of a character, they would get close enough and just say, hey, it's the Shattered Glass version, you know? They did the same thing with both Ricochet and Stepper. They did the same thing with countless other Shattered Glass throwaway figures that are basically just supposed to be redos, but thrown under the Shattered Glass umbrella for the sake of the gimmick. This was not the peak of Shattered Glass. Very much, this is when everyone was starting to get tired of BotCon's take on it. Which is a shame, because even if this isn't a perfect redo of Octopunch, I do think it's still a very nice one. Even if the colors aren't exact, they're still really good. I love this more sickly color scheme. The burgundy helps bring it all together. The cream-colored torso is a nice transition from that burgundy to the teal. The yellow accessories help as well. And of course, Sea Spray's head already looked like a scuba diver. So it's a great redo, a modern reinvention of Octopunch's classic scuba diver helmet-inspired head. I like this guy a lot as an Octopunch. I just wish that 1, he was easier to get, and 2, he didn't have to be shattered glass. This is basically the only modern Octopunch, and it feels weird to see that red Autobot logo right there in his torso. Admittedly, Octopunch has not had much, so why don't we pop the brakes right here to talk about his only third-party figure, that being the New Age Octopunch. This is also a repaint of Sea Spray, but of course, New Age had a very G1 Sea Spray. It's interesting to see the similar idea put here. You can see they took the deco from that large BotCon toy and just applied it to a more G1 Sea Spray body, and I think it honestly kind of works. It looks good in these colors. It's not a patch on that Shattered Glass version, that's still, in my opinion, the better figure, but it is kind of cool to see this Octopunch and maybe headcanon it as this is what he looked like before he was a pretender, maybe? I'm grasping at straws, but come on, at least he has some third-party love. That's more than pretenders like Stranglehold can say. Going back to official waters in 2016, Octopunch would actually appear on television for the very first time in Robots in Disguise. He was never a major character, really more of a bit player, but hey, at least he got a tiny Titan out of the deal. Rolling into 2018, we got our modern Hasbro Pretender through the power of the Primes toy line, and these guys break my heart. I think modern Pretenders have so much potential. Think about it. You could get a massive action figure with a tiny, solid core class figure inside. I would love a toy like that. I would buy a leader class figure if it was just a massive Mythic Legion style guy that you could pop a pretty solid Transformer out of. But no, this guy was just a tiny Battle Master with a flip out torso so you can get Solless Prime. Solless Prime now, of course, in the colors of Octopunch, but not the inner robot. No, she now is color coordinated with the Octopunch armor. That brings us to 2023, and you could get the Rubber Strap Series Octopunch from eHobby. It's just a keychain, but come on, that looks pretty nice. I like it. And that's it. Octopunch has never gotten the same love as, say, a Skullgrin, and he definitely has never been given the same love as a Bludgeon, but he's doing about as well as, say, a Nautilator. He is another Pretender, and also ran, but I think that's a shame because he is cool. His original toy still stands the test of time. I will stand by that G1 Octopunch. He had a good BotCon showing, even if the Shattered Glass thing was a bit strange. He has a decent third-party toy. When it comes to later-day G1 figures, Octopunch is doing really well in the toy realm, which is doubly impressive to me because he's never had a major run in any fiction. It makes sense that you could get a lot of Tailgates nowadays, entirely because IDW made Tailgate a star. I could say the same thing about Bludgeon. The reason why Bludgeon has so much love is because he was the final villain of Marvel, and basically every continuity since then has paid some respect to Bludgeon. Octopunch is doing this entirely based on the strength of that original design he had, and in some ways, that makes me respect him all the more. Good on you, Octopunch. You were odd, you did your own thing, and nowadays you're better remembered than, I don't know, friggin' Sure Shot. A big thank you once again to my producer, Oscar NJ Boy, for allowing me to talk about Octopunch through his Patreon request. If you would like to make Patreon requests or support the show, you can back me on Patreon. For $1, you will be able to join my Discord server, Moonbase1. For $5, you will be allowed to watch videos early and download videos directly from me. And finally, for $10, you will become a producer, which means that you will show up in every video I make from now on, as well as be able to make Patreon requests just like this one here. Thank you all so much for watching, and hey, let's see what we get up to next time.